To sing efficiently, we need to control our breath in many different ways. Your body type may affect how you breathe when you sing. Broadly speaking, there are 3 main body types, 3 breathing approaches, and by the end of this video, you'll find out what breathing type you naturally have and how you can use it to your advantage. But firstly, let's walk you through the 3 main body types. The first type is endomorphic. This usually describes someone with a softer or naturally rounder build who carries a larger proportion of body fat. This does not mean unhealthy, and it doesn't mean every part of their body looks the same. It is just one way of describing overall body composition. The second type is mesomorphic. This is the more naturally muscular or athletic build, often with broader structure and more visible muscle mass. Some people build muscle very easily, whereas others can look athletic without intense training. The third type is ectomorphic. This describes a leaner, more linear build, usually with both less body fat and less overall muscle mass. You may have longer limbs, a narrower frame, or a more naturally slim appearance. But it's important to know that most people don't fall into one perfect body type. You might be a mixture, so just choose the one that sounds most like your overall build. Now we'll add on the 3 breathing approaches. The first breathing type is called Appoggio. It's been taught in the classical tradition for many years, and it's all about maintaining space in the rib cage for as long as you're singing. However, it is not as simple as pushing your stomach out and your ribs out in all directions. The whole point is that you inhale, wait for the whole torso to expand, and hold that position for the duration of the phrase. Manage that expansion instead of releasing immediately. Now let's try this. Place your hands on your lower ribs around here. Breathe in and feel the space widen. Try and hold that as you sing the next phrase. Now secondly, costal breathing puts even more emphasis on the expansion of the rib cage. The ribs widen on the inhale and stay expanded for the duration of the phrase. Try wrapping your hands around the side of your ribs and breathing sideways into them. Now, Appoggio breathing is about taking a sort of 360 breath, whereas costal breathing is more about the ribs themselves. Now, when you're breathing sideways into these ribs, make sure that your shoulders aren't jumping up. If you are, you're probably sending too much movement into the upper chest. And thirdly, we have pancostal breathing, which places more emphasis on the chest and the rib expansion alongside stronger inward abdominal movement. It can look and feel higher in the torso than Appoggio. The important distinction to make is when you're working with the upper ribs, this is not the same as moving the shoulders up and down, so check for that. So now we have the 3 body types and the 3 breathing methods. Which one does each resemble? Well, these 3 main types were drawn from a paper that was written in 2004, which developed our understanding of the correlation between body types and breathing. Now, the results show that the endomorphic singers showed the most obvious movement around the belly button area. Out of the 3, this most closely resembled Appoggio because the movement was lower down in the torso, meaning these lower ribs right here. So if you have a softer or rounder build, you may feel breathing lower down here. Your danger is assuming that stomach movement always leads to better support, which may not be true for you. If you don't balance these, you can still push the belly out too aggressively or let the rib cage collapse. So your focus should be keeping the ribs involved as well as the abdomen. Now, the mesomorphic singers showed strong movement around the rib cage, which most closely resembled costal breathing. If you are athletic or muscular, you may find rib expansion easier to feel. Your main risk is turning the use of secondary muscles into support. This can come in the form of gripping the abs, locking in the torso, or trying to force out the sound with great strength, which is never a good idea. Support should always feel coordinated and led by you rather than forced and something that you have to do to get the sound out. And the ectomorphic singers showed more movement in the lateral and upper chest, which the paper linked most closely with pancostal breathing. If you are very lean, your breathing may look a bit higher and less naturally abdominal. In this case, developing sensation in the lower ribs and back might be your best friend. Because of the way you breathe, you might need to take away focus from lifting the shoulders, and a good way to do that is focusing lower down. But it's important to know that in this paper, none of the groups demonstrated a perfect breathing technique. All 3 groups, which were mainly students from 18 to 21, showed a lot of vertical chest movement. So body type may influence your default pattern, but that default might not be the best for you. Here's a way to find out what you need more. Start by filming yourself from the side. Take 1 regular speaking breath and sing a short phrase. And I want you to ask yourself, what looks missing from the view? Does your belly move the most? Is it the ribs? Is there shoulder movement where there shouldn't be? Do your ribs widen at all? And is that to a natural amount, or does it feel forced? Then ask yourself what your body's overusing and what you're missing. If everything only moves in the belly, add more your side rib awareness. If you're very rib dominant, make sure that you're not holding tightly. And if your inhales shoot high into the chest and shoulders, gain consciousness over that and take slower, shorter inhales. Practice inhaling a little quieter and adding more rib expansion. But most of all, do not copy someone's breathing shape without considering first your own body. Use your body as a clue and train whatever you're missing out on, not just because it looks nice, but because you'll have a better sound overall.